trendy, especially with the rise in popularity of TV shows like Pawn Stars and Hardcore Pawn. But does it really pay to pawn, and how do you know if you're being taken advantage of? Pamela Wright from Wright Pawn and Jewelry has some do's and don'ts of the business. Good morning. All right, let's start with what pawn shops are, because there's this connotation that is had over the years, which is really not true.
That's right. Pawn shops are actually financial lending institutions that are licensed by the state of Texas. We are like a bank. We're overseen by the Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner, and the state legislature actually sets our rules and regulations.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So we're actually highly regulated, and we're not the old pawn shop in the movies. It's a dark,
yeah,
in a dark
where people
alley
steal something and say, "Hey, I gotta watch you," right? Type of thing. Is because the deal is, if you bring something in, there's a record of who brought it in.
There is. We get your driver's license, a federally or a state issued ID, and we report to the Houston Police Department, because there's no way for us to tell if something's stolen when we buy it. But the police department has a huge database, and everything's checked out.
All right.
It's brought into a store.
Okay, so there's different advantages at a pawn shop. One is you can get a loan. That means pawning something.
Yes, a
right?
pawn is a loan.
Okay.
So if you want to keep it, you want to get a pawn. If you never want to see it again, you want to sell it.
Yeah, and if you think you might not be able to let go of something, and you might not be able to get that money in time, right, you might not want to pawn it. You might not want to pawn your great-great-grandmother's something that she handed you down. But with that said, you give people a certain amount of time, and if they call, you might be able to extend that time.
That's correct. So when you pawn, you are going to get a receipt similar to this one here that lists your name, your driver's license, and description of the item, and it clearly states when is your due date and how much interest do you have to pay. And as long as you keep in touch with the pawn shop and you pay your interest, you can leave it in as long as you need to.
Okay. Now, moving on to some other things that sometimes pawn shops get taken advantage of, and then people who are buying get taken advantage of. You take all kinds of things of value.
Yes.
Designer purses, we know, are like people love designer purses. So oftentimes you'll get someone coming in saying, yes, I want to pawn or have you buy this actual purse. There's a process to find out if it really is real.
Yes.
Sometimes people get surprises.
Yes, yes. And if you buy a purse or you buy anything from a pawn shop, you need to be sure that they stand behind the products that they sell. If you spend $2,000 to $3,000 on this Chanel handbag, double flap jumbo that we all want, you get it home and you find out Chanel never had this color.
Yeah.
And it smells like mold on the inside.
Well,
it's not real.
That's a Channel purse.
That's
not
a Channel
Chanel.
purse. Will the pawn shop refund your money?
Yeah.
And the answer is yes.
And of course, if you are wanting to sell one to the pawn shop, the better condition is, the better.
Yes, because this is a great example of something in really bad condition. You know, just because you paid $800 for something and then you use it and use it and use it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're going to get $800 for it.
The better condition is, the better price you get, and you're not getting full retail.
Yes, that's right. That's right, because it's just like a car. Once you walk out of the store with your jewelry, your handbags, it is a used item.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to jewelry. This is where we saw an explosion when the economy got a little crazy and precious metals went up. We saw an explosion of people going to pawn shops or selling their gold to various institutions. And so one thing you should always look for when you're selling your precious metals is the scale that they have in the business. And that scale is, you look for a particular sticker?
You look for this sticker, which is issued by the Texas Department of Agriculture, which means the scale is regulated and it weighs correctly.
Right.
I would also check the Better Business Bureau, see if there are any complaints on the establishment to which you're selling. And check online conversation, check social media. Word of mouth is the absolute best reference you can have.
Right. And the reason why that scale is so important is someone could plop your bracelet on the scale and say, yeah, that only says it's 30 grams of gold, and it really could be 35 or 40, and so they're getting away with something there. Also with jewelry, when you bring jewelry in, do a little bit of your own research. If you have appraisals, bring it in. If you have stuff like that, bring it in. But keep in mind that appraisal, it could be replacement value and could be a whole lot more than what you're going to get. Because many times it's just scrap metal that you're going to get people, right?
Exactly. And do try to know what you have. For example, this bracelet here is an 18-karat bracelet. The clasp had been used so many times that the top of the 8 had worn off, so it looked like it was 10-karat. And we were excited to be able to tell the owner that it's actually 18-karat.
Yeah, and the reason why the way you can tell a lot of things are a certain carat weight is you actually put it through a chemical test. Like this coin right here, you get lots of coins that come in. Somebody might think that that's a gold coin, and you have to break it to them gently.
That's right. And this coin was actually, a person bought it in the Walmart parking lot from a guy, and they brought it in and thought it was worth hundreds, and it's not real at all. So
that doesn't even feel like it would have been real.
But it looks real. And when you go to a pawn shop, be sure that they actually test your merchandise, not just look at it and say, I'll give you $400 for it.
Yeah.
You want to know, Is it gold? Is it platinum? Is it sterling? What is it?
All right. So we were talking about earlier how people can find certain things in certain shops, secondary market,
Yes.
I guess,
Yes.
and that you can actually get so much of a better deal on it. There are some things that actually you buy could go up in value, and you can actually. And this is one of them. Anybody know what this is? Yes, the Hermes Birkin bag,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So if you got one of these, you might actually get a pretty good deal for it.
That's right. That's in a league of its own.
Yeah, because one of the, there's a waiting list for these types of things here. And of course, pawn shops are also great for finding just rare finds and very interesting things.
Right, and some people ask, what should we buy today? Should I invest in gold? Should I invest in silver? And if we knew the answer to that, we'd all be rich, right?
Yes.
What I can tell you is don't invest in something as an investment that's marketed as a collectible, because it's not. Collectibles come over time. And just because somebody's going to tell you that in 25 years this will be a collectible, I wish I could tell the future too, don't you?
Yeah, like the commercial will say, that's right, but we're limiting only 2 per family because this will be highly collectible.
Right,
all right, unless you're collecting these
That's right.
here.
That's right.
All right, Pam, thank you very
Pleasure
much.
to see you. Thank you.
For more on Wright Pawn and Jewelry, you can check out our website, greatdayhouston.com. It won't come off my arm.